Staying organized in our home can actually save us so much time and so much money. And if you're like me, you probably think, man, that sounds tedious. I don't have time to do that. I don't want to do that. But when you see how much time and money it saves you by putting a few things where you can find them, you'll be eager to do another area. I hope you'll stick around while I show you some of the things I do to stay organized so I'm not tempted to buy things that are already made or easily made at home, and I can find what I'm looking for when I need it, so I'm not tempted to stop at a drive-through or stop somewhere and pick something up because I just don't know where mine is.
Hi, I'm Bonita and I am early retired. I'm not old enough yet for Social Security. I'm living on a low income and I am living off of savings. I live in Kansas on a farm and I have a donkey. This is Brownie. I have frugal videos all year round, and I hope that you will join me this year as we share ways to save money and live our dreams. There are so many things out there today to buy to get organized. And what they really are is just pretty containers, sometimes to hide stuff and not really organize the stuff. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I reuse, repurpose, recycle things that I already have. They don't cost me any extra money, and I use those for my organization. And some of these things I make from scratch rather than buying them pre-made, but I keep them where I know where they're at. That way I'm not tempted to go buy it pre-made, and I always have it handy right where I need it. For instance, in one of my kitchen drawers, I keep this little packet. And when you go and get your eyeglasses, they give you these little wipe cloths almost every single time that you get glasses. So I have collected those as I decluttered. This whole bag is full of these little wipe cloths. I know right where they're at. I kept an old bottle from of eyeglass cleaner, and I have been making my own now for years. It's just the container is just half water, half rubbing alcohol, and a drop of dish soap. That's all that goes in this. And then I keep all of these in a baggie in the kitchen. The kitchen is very handy. It is on my way to the laundry room, on the way to the back porch. And also, when my glasses need cleaned, a lot of times it's because I've splattered something on them. I've got something on them when I was cooking. So this keeps it super handy. My husband and I both know where it's at. I don't have to repurchase this. I don't have to say, where's a Kleenex? Where's something I can clean my glasses with? I don't have to get frustrated because my glasses are smeary, because this is so handy and I always know where it is and I make my own. I even keep a mixture of it in the RV. Now, my mother-in-law, she buys those little individually wrapped eyeglass cleaners. And I don't know what these cost now, but they used to cost like $5 years ago, but I'm sure they are way, way more than that now. And now you know how to make it and you know how cheaply it can be made.
I love to keep my decorative jars and rewash and use them for other things that I get from the grocery store. These are old ketchup bottles back when they came in glass. But I keep some pre-made mixes here where I just have to add the wet ingredients, and I keep all my variety of beans in there. That way I can see them at a glance, grab them at a glance, and not have to dig through all of my varieties. This also keeps rodents out of things and bugs out of things. And living in the country, that is very important. I also keep old ice chests. I have some from the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and they work great for great totes because, as we all know, they don't really keep your stuff cold. The ones that you buy today are much, much better. And we keep one of those in the RV and also in our car since we have such a long drive to the store in the summer. And then some of the recipes that I use the most are taped right inside my cabinet doors. As you can see, they are well loved. They've been copied. But when I have like my homemade muffin mix and my gluten-free bread and my gluten-free flour, the things that I might be tempted to buy pre-made, I have them right at my fingertips. I'm not as tempted to do that because I don't have to dig for that favorite recipe. I bought these years and years ago. They have a Ziploc top, and I use those and refill them. We buy our gluten-free flour in a 25-pound bag, and then I just switch it over into this to make it handy for use in the kitchen. And then I make my gluten-free pancake mix from scratch, and I put it back into the bag that's already labeled, and I know all I have to add are my wet ingredients. And like I just showed you, I save all of these bags that have a Ziploc top because I can go back and freeze meat in there if I buy it in bulk and divide it out. I save, if we have like gluten-free tortilla bags, everything has to be gluten-free for my bags to be saved because of my husband. I use popcorn bags. I have a rice cake bag here, and this has tea bags in it that sometimes just sprinkle out a little bit of tea before you use them. We mainly just make tea with sun tea in the summertime. And so I have these, but we only make it in the summer. And then my husband likes sweet and low with his sun tea. So I have all of the packets inside a Ziploc popcorn bag. And then I will store them in my canisters with a lid. It's just a separate layer of protection for bugs, for rodents, and also I can find what I'm looking for quickly without having to dig in my little canister. And that is because I keep multiple things in one canister. I don't just keep like sweet and low in one canister. So for space purposes, I will put multiple bags in one canister on the cabinet to find them easily without having to dig. I save coffee canisters. These work so great rather than having to purchase canisters. So this one has my stevia or my Splenda or whatever I have as a zero sugar additive in there. I have oatmeal. I have instant potatoes. I have wheat pancake mix because we do also have to have gluten-free that I make from scratch. Any sauce packets that I have. I had bought some gravy packets on sale for $1, things like that are in here. My dried milk, my rice flour that has been mixed up with my tapioca powder to make a gluten-free flour substitute. I have bulk spices like the ones I bought in Mexico so I can refill my containers. And yes, I save the spice containers when they're empty as well. And then I have rice and some extra beans in here. And then I just make handmade labels. And this helps me find stuff so quickly. The faster you can find stuff in the kitchen, the less likely you are to buy something that is pre-made so that you can see it quickly and then make something from it. When you can have everything at your fingertips like this labeled and organized, you're less likely to buy those products or go through a drive-through.
And as I showed you with the labels on my coffee canisters, I just use old junk mail envelopes for that. And I also save like junk mail newspaper flyers, and I keep them hidden in a place where I know where they're at so they're not visibly cluttered. And I use the envelopes for lists, I use them for labels, and I use these newspaper to clean mirrors, windows, glass on the front of my hutch. I use them just like a paper towel with cleaning with my vinegar and water solution. And that keeps me from dirtying a rag. I already have these. I might as well make some use out of them. We don't buy paper towels. We maybe keep one roll around in case a cat gets sick or something. But other than that, we do not use paper towels. So why not get a second use out of something that is just going to get thrown away? So some people may be watching this video and saying, but that doesn't look nice. Reusing containers doesn't look nice. I want it to look nice. But I have found in my 59 years that clean and neat is better than fancy containers and no organization. If you can have it organized and clean and neat, it doesn't look bad. In fact, I get so many compliments every time my adult children come home when I have done more organization like this on how good the house looks. And that's something that means a lot to me. I want it to look clean and neat. I want it to be labeled. I want to be able to find things. I want it to be functionable. If it's functionable, I'm less likely to repurchase or overpurchase something that I don't know where it is or know if I have it, and then maybe it goes bad. Or maybe we just don't know where it is and we can't find it for like 2 years. So I try to keep things where I can find them and keep them clean and neat. I don't care about the look of the containers. Most of us have coffee containers around our house anyway, and they're in cabinets. So what makes the difference if they have a label on them?
We save distilled water containers from my husband's CPAP, and then we refill them in town rather than buying individual water bottles. And when we have company, we use a glass, ice, and we fill it from the jug. I keep a compost container of an old jug that I've cut in half here by the sink, and then I can take it out when it's full and dump it into my garden. I keep scissors where I can find them. I keep Scotch tape where I can find them. Those are sometimes the things that get us that we buy extra of because they just don't cost that much and we're not sure where ours are at. So if you can get a little bit more organized around your home, even on some small things, you will save money.
There are so many things around our homes that we can use, reuse, repurpose, recycle to keep from going into the landfill and actually have a second use for ourselves. That's a lot of what I do around here to save money. We even have a tin can sitting by our sink that we keep like our scratcher brush in there when we do dishes. So many things can be used rather than purchasing those decorative organization items. Yes, they're pretty, but is it really necessary? If we're on a tight budget, I say it's not necessary. I have a country home. I don't care if it is fancy. It doesn't need to be fancy to go with the type of decor that I have. I'm perfectly comfortable letting people into my home seeing that I'm reusing containers because most everyone around here is like me. They were raised by farm people growing up with parents from the Depression era who saved and reused everything. They didn't believe in wasting things just because it wasn't pretty. Thanks for watching today. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that you use or reuse that I didn't mention today, and I hope to see you soon.